I a hall for laughing at my brother while he's going through a bad divorce? My brother is going through a divorce right now. He's been living with my mom and dad, and me and my parents helped him come up with money to get a lawyer. I know it's been a rough time for him. When he met with a lawyer for the first time, he found out that you can't get alimony in a divorce if there was infidelity. As in, the law forbids it and there's no exception. It doesn't matter if you stayed home with your kid for over 20 years like my brother or never worked. My sister-in-law is an architect and she makes bank. My brother thought he would get alimony, but he was dumb enough to cheat on her. He also found out that he is not able to claim any part of the house because she owned it outright before they got married. Both of these he wasn't expecting, and he was obviously upset when he got back from his first visit with a lawyer. When he told me that the law will deny him alimony, I laughed, and my parents chewed me out over it. It probably was the wrong reaction, but he was so confident he would be able to get a big payment and half or all of the house. He will get some money from their savings, but nowhere near what he thought, and most of it will get eaten up by legal fees. He has been knocked down several pegs and completely screwed himself over. Am I the a-hole because I laughed? Was it like kicking him when he was down? He has no work history or money of his own to fall back on. I know it's been rough for him and he's struggling with what to tell my niece as well. It was almost an involuntary reaction because I just couldn't believe it. Now for the top comments. Was your brother a stay-at-home dad? Did they decide he would stay home, or was he lazy at mooching off her? He was definitely an a-hole for cheating, but if he gave up his job to take care of the kids, he does deserve something. Maybe not the house or a huge alimony, but it is a sacrifice to be a stay-at-home parent. He stayed home from when my niece was born. She graduated college in June and just turned 23. She lived at home until her college graduation. I agree with you, but the law is what the law is. I am torn on this. I am someone who has an inappropriate, reflexive laugh reaction to highly emotional news. It seriously sucks. However, uncontrollable or not, it does make already upset people feel worse. Also, he obviously messed up by cheating. That's a no-brainer. But, does he deserve to get nothing after staying home to raise his daughter in lieu of a paying job? I don't think so. I feel if the roles were reversed, much fewer folks would be saying he got what he deserved. Not the a-hole. He had a life where his wife provides the home and the income, and he decided to destroy it by cheating on his wife, and expected to walk away with her hard-earned money? Him pouting over the reality of having to deal with the consequences of his own stupidity is laughable. Not the a-hole. Cheaters deserve to be laughed at. Brother is realizing his side piece will leave once she learns he doesn't have any money. Lol. See? Laughing is a natural reaction to cheaters getting their just desserts. Reminds me of that one post where the guy cheated on his wife with, I think, a secretary, but his wife was the one with all the money. Ended up getting the side chick pregnant. Lost his wife and everything he had. Not even his daughters want anything to do with him. The wife later got remarried, and he tried to say she was probably having an affair with a dude because of how soon they got married after the divorce. Lol. Not the a-hole. It is funny. Hilarious, actually. He tried to screw his ex-wife over first. He thought he would get money and a house from her, but he fooled around and found out the hard way. Now he has nothing. Like he actually thought he could take her house, the house she had before they even got married. The entitlement that he has is astounding. I mean, a lot of people who browse the sub think that a partner should get partial ownership over their partner's house if they move in and help pay bills for a few months. It's not that far-fetched to believe that a future ex-husband in this story thought something similar would pass in real life. I agree though, it really is funny. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my husband? So I, 32 female, and my husband, 35 male, have been together for 8 years, married for 6. My husband has always talked about having kids, and we decided we were ready last year. After months of stress and no results, we went to a doctor and found out my husband is infertile. He's always deeply wanted to be a father, so this was a big deal to him. We took a few months to process, and he grieved the loss, understandably so. To my surprise, he suggested we go to a sperm bank. I was a little unsure if trying so soon would be a good idea, but he insisted that neither of us are getting younger, and he was completely okay with things. He's always been pretty blunt with his feelings, good or bad, so I thought it was alright. And at first it was. Then when we started looking through the book at the descriptions of the donors, and all of a sudden my husband's attitude changed. He demanded to see some samples of sperm from shorter men, because it's a man thing. And he apparently wouldn't be able to love someone else's son that's taller than him. living in his house. I stopped the appointment, and we got into a terrible fight on the way home. He apologized, saying he was just emotional, realizing it wouldn't really be a son, that the book made it seem real. We agreed to tentatively start the process again, but throughout the week, he made comments about how I might as well just cheat on him, and snide remarks about how my boss would be happy to put a baby in me if I ask. He even got jealous of my brother-in-law and made a very rude comment to him and my sister about how we could swap for a night and all get what we wanted. I shut the entire thing down after that, saying I didn't want to have kids with him when he was acting like this. Maybe never after that. With obligations to visit his family for a birthday dinner, we did. It was an alright if slightly cold evening, until his mother asked me to get him and a few others back inside. I wasn't surprised to find them complaining about me, but the subject matter shocked me. He told them our recent marital problems were because I was infertile due to my old age. I listened as he told his brother, on and on about how he just wasn't sure if I was worth the effort, and maybe he should try to find someone younger while he still could. They joked about the women he could be sleeping with. It was crass, insulting, and deeply embarrassing. It also wasn't true. I was livid. I went back inside and grabbed the car keys, and when he asked why I was crying, I told everyone in the room, all adults, the truth. I left him there and ignored his calls. When he finally came home, we had the biggest argument of our lives about how I shared such a big insecurity and shamed him to his family. That his mother cried. I'm currently staying with my sister and I think our marriage may be irreparable. He says I humiliated him, and I know that I did. But he was perfectly fine lying to humiliate me and claiming he wanted to leave me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your husband being infertile feels like karma in this case. Nature's way of telling this particular piece of work not to procreate. Do not have children or tie yourself down to this man any further, OP. The way he has treated you is beyond reprehensible. He deserved to be embarrassed, and honestly deserved much worse than he got. Projecting his own issues onto you publicly, and then making a joke about trading you in is so incredibly disrespectful. I can't imagine how this man would treat a child, or you, as normal life things happen over time. Illnesses, accidents, etc. Time to reconsider this relationship, I'd say. Not the a-hole at all. I am pretty sure he would treat the baby from the sperm donor horribly and his wife even more. Yeah, as soon as he started saying he wouldn't be able to love someone else's son if they were taller than him, living in his house, it became clear that he would never actually see the child as his own and would resent them just for existing. I'm so glad that Opie recognized what a red flag that was and stopped the process right then and there, even if she ended up giving him another chance afterward. Hopefully she doesn't go back to him. Not the a-hole. Do you want to have a child with this man? When people show you who they are, believe them. Please don't have a child with this person. Opie did not humiliate her husband at all. She told people the truth, which exposed his lies. He only has himself to blame, with a complete and total a-hole. Not the a-hole. Let's review this wonderful man. 1. He's talking about cheating on you. 2. He's talking about leaving you. 3. He lied about a medical condition that you do not have. 4. He says all of the problems in the marriage are your fault. 5. He's insecure about tall men. 6. He's insecure about being infertile, making creepy jokes about you sleeping with your boss or brother-in-law. Why are you married to this person? Next story. Am I the a-hole for making my mother-in-law believe I was having an affair? I, 27 female, and my husband, 26 male, are big gaming addicts. Our parents hate that we played games, and we have got in multiple fights as children and adults over our hobby. It is a sore subject in our family, and we have opted to lie and say we are outside if anyone asks what we are doing. We both work from home, and right after work we proceeded to play games until midnight. None of us like leaving the house, so we are practically next to each other 95% of the time. There is no humanly possible way for either of us to cheat on one another. I am currently pregnant, and this has caused our in-laws to visit very frequently. Due to this increase in visits, we have reduced much of our gaming time for the better health of the baby, and so they do not see us gaming. We have gotten an argument about how our hobbies are unacceptable, childish, and that we needed to change. Sundays are known to everyone as the unavailable day. We always say we are on a date or something, but in reality, we are at home getting our weekly gaming quota covered. My husband went to a gaming cafe with friends Vicing, and I stayed home last Sunday. Mother-in-law decided later to call me in the middle of a match, and I suppose I was acting very suspicious because I wanted to end the conversation ASAP. She asked what I was doing, and I replied automatically without thinking that I was on a date with my husband. According to my husband, she then later called him and he said that he was at a bar with friends. Mother-in-law decided to visit my house, where I was undoubtedly in the middle of another game. I avoided any phone calls and pretended to not hear the knocking until my match was over, 20 minutes or so. Afterwards, I answered the door and pretended that I was sleeping, which is why I wasn't answering the phone or door. Mother-in-law exploded at me, calling me a cheater, and that the child I was pregnant with was not her son's, because otherwise, why would I not answer the door? The idea that I would cheat, and that it would even be possible to cheat on my partner, was so hilarious to me that I burst out laughing, which angered mother-in-law even more. She continued to berate me while I just smiled, sitting there thinking how ridiculous all this was. When my husband came home, she berated me in front of him about how I was cheating on him. My husband was visibly confused the whole time and confirmed with his mother that there was no possible way for me to cheat on him. He explained how we are together practically every moment of the day, and when mother-in-law saw he was not getting on her side, she proceeded to get mad at me for leading her on. She called me an a-hole for pretending to have an affair and never correcting her before she told other people. Although I never clarified that I wasn't cheating, I do think that it was not her place to come unannounced and proclaim that I am a cheater. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Stop letting this damn woman through your front door. Not the a-hole, of course. OP, stop answering her calls ever. Grey rock her. Your husband plays interference with your mother-in-law from now on. You are completely unavailable to your mother-in-law. There is simply no reason for her to have this much access and this much of an opinion on your lives. Good riddance and happy gaming. Absolutely this. OP, we had a serious breakdown in our relationship with my in-laws, husband and me both, and now the dynamics are he feels any interaction. It's just safer and less messy. And honestly, it's his parents. We have a good relationship with mine, but I still field calls with them. They need to get off your backs. How is gaming worse than reading/watching TV, etc.? You are sitting for them all. At least with gaming and reading, your brain is actively working. Big boundaries are gonna be needed for you guys, unfortunately, once baby comes. I have a strong feeling your mother-in-law is going to go off the deep end for encroachment on your lives. Not the a-hole, and your mother-in-law sounds toxic. Your gaming is your business. You both need to tell your parents that is not their business and to keep their opinions on your gaming to themselves. And enforce it. If they start in on you for it on the phone, hang up. If they start when you're at their house, leave. If at your house, tell them to leave. You are adults. I agree. You also don't need to lie about what you are actually doing to win her approval. Who needs the approval of someone who blames everyone else but themselves? Completely agree that they should start acting like adults and stop letting other people dictate how they live their lives. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for speaking American Sign Language and not telling my boyfriend I know how to sign? My 25 female boyfriend, 26 male, is mad at me currently for not telling him I know American Sign Language and embarrassing him. I'm by no means fluent, but I took beginner classes in university. I study a people-facing field and figured it would be helpful. I can get by. I know basic conversational signs and things like how to get around places, locations, etc. It's enough to be helpful but not maintain a fluent conversation. We were at a train station and I had gone to the restroom while my boyfriend waited outside. Before I had gone in, I noticed an elderly couple looking at a map and signing. I didn't think much of it, but when I came back out, I could see my boyfriend trying to help them. I could sense some tension/frustration because he doesn't know ASL, and the couple was obviously lost and flustered. The woman started going through her purse for a pad of paper and had to start emptying her bag to get a pen. I walked up to them and started signing and let them know I could help. They were relieved, and I helped them find their correct route and where they needed to go. After the couple walked away, my boyfriend got mad and said I embarrassed him by not telling him I know ASL and interfering when he had it handled. I told him knowing ASL wasn't a secret, it just never came up. And it wasn't handled, as I could tell he was getting annoyed and the couple was flustered. He says I embarrassed him and showed him up. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add some details. We've been together for a little over 6 months and this is really the first time I've seen this behavior. I definitely realize now this is a red flag, and I guess we're coming out of that honeymoon stage now. To answer some questions, I'm not sure why the couple or my boyfriend didn't opt for using a smartphone. I guess he was flustered, and the couple clearly had plenty of belongings they were juggling. Not a-hole. The proper reaction is, no way. That's cool. Red flag on your boyfriend's ear-interfering reaction. Red flag on getting mad about an insignificant omission too. What an unpleasant person. And a further red flag that it makes being shown up in a minor way this poorly. You were genuinely helpful, and he took it like he lost his hero moment. Not a-hole. Sounds like his ego was bruised. A man less threatened would have been grateful for your assistance. To say he was embarrassed over this interaction is ridiculous. If something so insignificant can annoy him that much, it makes you wonder what would happen if something truly embarrassing happened. Not a-hole. Your boyfriend feels emasculated and undercut because you could do something he can't. Not just knowing the language, but the fact that you solved something he couldn't. I wouldn't go so far as to say that this is a red flag, because sometimes it's hard to control those emotions in the moment. And then, I'm sorry I shouldn't have acted that way becomes very hard to say. However, you should be on the lookout for similar situations in your relationship and get out if they become toxic. Small updates, I guess. He said he's had some time to cool off and he's glad I was able to help them. But he said he still felt embarrassed when I took over the situation and made him look incompetent. I'm planning to have a conversation about how this is a problem with his ego and not my skills. But depending on how that goes, maybe this is the end of it.